Hello and welcome to the Guardian Football Weekly. It's our world-famous Premier League preview pods, alphabetically Arsenal to Wolves. Bournemouth begins with a B, Barry. The Gunners have a centre-forward. Does that just mean second again? Aston Villa have been quiet, but Unai Emery is still Unai Emery. What impact will selling virtually their entire backline have on Bournemouth? What impact will losing their manager and some vital players have on Brentford? Brighton have bought lots of people we don't know much about. No doubt they'll all be brilliant. Burnley have bought a whole team, but lost James Trafford. Chelsea are the best team in the world, and they bought some excellent players. Palace have had the best season in their history. Might the demotion, however unfair to the Conference League, actually work out in more silverware? Everton have a shiny stadium and a shiny Grealish, and Fulham are Fulham. We'll predict where they'll all finish on today's Guardian Football Weekly. On the panel for part one today, Barry Glendenning, hello.
Hi, Max.
Welcome, Johnny Liew.
Hi, how you doing?
And Jordan Jarrett-Bryan is here too.
Hello, mate. Can I just say, sorry, this is the first time I've done a podcast with you guys in person.
Ever?
Wow. This is exciting for me.
Will the takes be hotter?
Oh, they're flaming hot.
Oh, okay.
They're coming.
Just to say, we're recording this on a Tuesday, so it'll go out, I think, on Wednesday. So, if something's happened to Alexander Isak or something else, and we don't reference it, it's because it's Tuesday right now. Shall we begin with Arsenal? They've brought in Martin Zubimendi, Victor Gyökeres, Noni Madueke, Christian Mosquera, a centre-back from Bilbao. Kieran Tierney's left, Jorginho, Thomas Partey, Raheem Sterling, Tomiyasu have gone. They begin at Old Trafford. They have Leeds, Liverpool, Forest and Man City in their opening 5 games as well. They finished second last year. We'll, of course, predict the whole table as we go. Barry did very well last year, didn't you? It's pressure on you to repeat that.
Yeah, and I found it really difficult this year, perhaps because I know there's a listener out there now collating these predictions, making note of them, and he has decided with firm evidence that I'm the best.
Did you win though? Did you?
Or used to not the worst of the bunch.
I mean,
No, I was
you predicted
by
Liverpool.
a distance
You
the
predicted
best.
Liverpool to win, which was,
Yes.
and that's the headline. But also, didn't you predict like Forest to get relegated?
Yeah, we
I
both
did,
that,
yes.
yeah.
As a category error, that's arguably worse.
It is worse.
I think my worst error was predicting Manchester United to finish 12th, which drew a sharp intake of breath from Max, and it was completely wrong because they were even worse than that.
It just depends on the metric because Max actually got 3 spot on, and you only got 2.
Are you the listener who studied it?
I'll do my research.
Good stuff.
I mean-
Let's start with Arsenal. Jordan, you're an Arsenal fan.
I am.
Second for 3 consecutive seasons.
Yay.
Can they go one better?
They can. Will they? It's probably the more interesting question. I have concerns. I think the summer feels like summer of remaining competitive. I think they've reloaded, if you like, with some players to ensure that they can go again. I'm not convinced that they have done enough to make me think that they are the team that come May will lift the Premier League trophy. They've done some good business. It's not business that if I'm Liverpool or Manchester City, I look at and think, oh, it's business that I look at and think, oh,
Okay, right.
do you know what I mean? So I'm spoiler alert, they aren't my Premier League champion this season, but I've got them in the top 2.
Okay.
i.e. second.
Yeah.
But a couple of the players, just briefly before the gentlemen come in, is it Gyökeres or Gyökeres?
Gyökeres is what I'm saying.
Gyökeres. Okay. I'll wait till I hear him say his name before I butcher it. I'll go with Gyökeres for now. Good signing. I'm not sure it's a difference-making signing. I think he'll score goals without being the difference, i.e. in those games where low blocks, in the small gaps, half chance, turn, bang. I'm not convinced he's that guy.
Are you convinced? I mean, because the talk about Arsenal is, do they need a striker? We're going to have to think of something new to ask this season. But they have Victor Gyökeres, and that is it's important that they found somebody to stand there.
Yeah, well, I think he is a game changer, and I don't know. I don't know whether he's going to score 9 goals or 19 goals or whatever. But I think he's a game changer for the reason that he takes a huge amount of pressure off Saka. I think the way you play Arsenal, the way you defend against Arsenal, is you double team Saka, you push him out to the side of the pitch, you crowd him out, and if you keep him out of the game, you know that they don't have the central threat to hurt you. Gyökeres is a nuisance. You can't do that with Gyökeres because, however, you think Portuguese Premier League form is going to translate to the Premier League, he's a nuisance. He is very good at sticking out a toe, knocking it off his tibia. He will occupy defenders and he'll create space for Saka. And it wouldn't surprise me if Saka has a Salah type season. He's he's basically been producing at 15, 20 goal standard while being double teamed, while being his team's main threat, and everybody knowing that. If he gets unleashed, it wouldn't surprise me if if he has a 25 goal season.
Yeah, and I suppose if you are a centre forward, it's quite harder. It's harder for the defence to push you out to the byline, isn't it? If you're Gyökeres, it's hard to say, listen, we'd like you to go over there. I mean, how much pressure do you think, Barry, is on Arteta?
I think there's a lot of pressure on him. He's got everything he wants. He's got his number 9. He's got cover all over the pitch. So he doesn't have any excuses not to win the league for lack of personnel, for example. If there are any excuses available, he will obviously grasp them with both hands, as he always does. But my concern about Arsenal now that they have got these good signings, I think Christian Nørgaard's a great signing. I know he's only going to be a sort of reserve midfielder, but I think he's a great man to have in reserve. And Madueke, despite the petition launched by those weird Arsenal fans who signed it, I think he'll be a good signing.
Has it reached 100,000? Do they have to discuss it in Parliament?
I don't know. He'll take some of the pressure off Saka. Saka won't be obliged to flog him every single game. So I don't think Arteta has no excuses, but Arsenal, I think, still probably won't be good enough, and I think they lack the mental fortitude to win the title, and I think that's largely Arteta's fault. They need a calming presence as a leader, and he's not a calming presence. He's the most animated man in in or around the squad, and I think their over-reliance on set pieces could be their undoing as well, because they focus so much on them, and every corner is like a set play in American football. It just takes all the rhythm out of their play, and I think they're going to come up short again.
I thought because Wilson's on the second half, we would survive someone saying Arsenal have mental weakness and we wouldn't get yelled at. But Jordan, you were nodding.
I was, because you're taking my point. My thing is, I don't think the issue is Arsenal's personnel. We talk a lot about transfers and players. Arsenal have a very, very good team that can win the league if you look at their personnel. My concern is it's that thing that you can't really, it's that intangible, the mentality. I have concerns about whether Arsenal have that thing, they have that it really takes when it really matters, when the pressure's on. Can you really go that extra mile? And I'm concerned they don't have it. Just quickly as well, finally from me on Arsenal, I have concerns about Martin Odegaard. I think it's a big year for him, and I predict that he won't finish the season in the starting 11 in the same way I think Madueke after 15 games will take that left wing spot from Martinelli and Trossard.
That's interesting because Madueke doesn't normally play that side.
He doesn't, but I think unless they sign a left winger, which I don't think they will, I can see Madueke taking that spot very quickly.
Okay, then where are we putting Arsenal? Barry?
Third.
Johnny?
First.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think, like, Zubimendi, we need to talk about Zubimendi. He's an incredible signing. If you can't get Rodri and you can't get Vitinha, he's the guy you get.
Agree.
And Arsenal got him. Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, that is the best midfield in the league. There is this kind of idea that Arsenal, basically it was the injuries that did for them last season. Actually, they lost the league in November. They lose the league when Saliba gets sent off against Bournemouth. They go on a run of 4 without a win. Mm-hmm. Liverpool go 9-10 points clear, and Arsenal lose their fucking minds. And this is that's what's gonna do for them if it comes to that. This idea that it has to be this season. It has to be the season. Arteta's got to do it. The whole project. Why is there not going to be other seasons? If there are other seasons after this.
You're ruining the phone in. Do they need a trophy? Aren't you? You're ruining it.
There's other seasons after this, but also they're an incredible team, and I think Arsenal fans just need to chill out a little bit about this. They have an incredible team that stand for something, right? They play a style of football. They represent their city in a way that previous Arsenal teams just haven't. I think Arsenal fans should just chill out about this stuff a little bit. I think if they get a really good start and Arteta can, I think, learn from some of the mistakes that he's made in previous seasons, they have 1 to 11 or 1 to 18 or 1 to, how many substitutes is there? 1 to 20?
Who knows?
They have a team that can win the league.
Okay. Jordan, where are they?
Second.
I have them second as well. But the more I look at my league table, I think, man, I've made some mistakes this year. All right, Aston Villa then. I haven't done a lot of business. They brought in Evan Gassar from Nice for 30 million, a striker. Yazin Ozcan, a centre-back. They've brought in Rashford and Asensio, Disasi as well, who were all on loan, have gone as well. They begin against Newcastle in the PSR derby, play Brentford, Palace, Everton and Sunderland as well. So quite a nice opening 5 games. They've had a quiet summer, Jordan. But they have Unai Emery, so it's interesting. It feels like a sort of air of calm, quiet summer, as opposed to the panic in Newcastle.
No, for sure. And I think having a summer where you don't bring in lots of transfers is underrated. We get so excited about, we haven't bought anybody.
Sure, Liverpool last year.
Exactly. Sometimes that stability can be better than just bringing in 3 names for the sake of it. Everything I'm saying, about to say, is predicated by the fact that I think they'll lose Watkins this window.
Oh.
I think Newcastle will take Watkins by the end of the window.
Okay.
So that's why I've got them a little bit lower than I think most people probably will. But I think your Unai Emery point is valid in that I think he's a leveller, in that he's a quality manager. I think when you've got him on your team, you're good for 10 points already, because he's that good a manager. Defence is decent. Is Martinez still there, or has he gone?
He's still there.
He's still there. Okay.
Those tears were for nothing.
Yeah, they've got a very good goalkeeper, decent defence. I love their midfield. Kamara, Tillemans, Morgan Rogers, Jacob Ram. They've got really good midfielders, and if they can, I don't think they will, if they can keep Watkins, they've got a guy they know they can get 15 goals minimum. So I think they'll have a decent season, but I do think they'll lose Watkins, which I think will impact them.
Johnny?
My concern with Villa is that for the last 2 or 3 seasons, they've been relying on a core of players. I get, that spine: Martinez, Konsa, Tielemans, McGinn, Watkins, who have basically been, I think been playing at their ceiling. And these are guys who've been playing out of their skin for 2 or 3 seasons. And if 2 or 3 of them have a drop-off, I worry about who's going to step up for them. Who's going to give them the little boost that Rashford and Asensio gave them in the second half of last season? Is Marlon going to step up? Is Ian Mutson going to have the season that he's always been threatening to? Is it going to be someone like George Hemmings? They've got a very good academy, and they talk very highly of some of the young players coming through.
Who is George Hemmings?
He's
son of Eddie.
No, exactly. He's got a name like a Victorian industrialist, but I think he's 18, 19, midfielder. They speak very highly of him. I can't say. I think they signed him from Forest a couple of seasons ago. But yeah, I mean, they have, and they're going to have to rely on those fringe players. Because I don't see that core turning out another season like they have done. And then Emery, 4th season, a little bit of a drop off at Sevilla. They still won the Europa League, obviously, but there was Emery in the 4th season at Valencia and Sevilla. There was a noticeable, not a huge collapse, but a drop off.
Right, the famous 4th season drop that I didn't know about until now. But they are in the Europa League, and Emery wins the Europa League, Barry.
He does, and if he wins it this season, it'll be the 5th time he's won it, I think. I'm inclined to agree with Johnny that I expect a drop off from Villa. They had a good season last season, but it ended badly. They missed out on place in the Champions League because of their failure to beat a terrible Manchester United team on the last day of the season, or a failure to even draw with them. And they got walloped by Palace in the FA Cup semi-final, and I would imagine that was quite a blow, or a couple of hammer blows to come at the end of the season. I'm concerned by their lack of activity in the window, and they very much need to improve away from home. But I'm inclined to agree with Johnny, and I have them in 9th.
9th. Jordan.
10th.
Johnny.
9th.
I have them 6th.
Right.
I should have done more research. Shouldn't I?
You might be right.
I might be right. Bournemouth then have brought in Georgi Petrovic, a goalkeeper from Chelsea. Could Chelsea afford to lose one of their goalkeepers? Interesting. Adrien Truffert as well, left back from Rennes. They've obviously lost their entire defence, basically, apart from Tavernier at right back, haven't they? So Dean Huijsen's gone to Real Madrid. Zabani is on his way to PSG. Kirk has gone to Liverpool. Kepa's gone as well. Jadon Anthony left as well. They begin at Anfield on Friday night. They play Wolves, Spurs, Brighton and Newcastle as well in their opening 5. Barry, look, they flirted with European places for a bit last season, didn't they? But it is difficult if you lose basically your entire defence and goalkeeper.
It is difficult. But I still fancy them to do well this season. I think they have one of the best managers in Europe in charge of them. They're one of those teams like Brighton and Brentford who don't seem to suffer unduly when they lose big name players because they've got more waiting in the wings to take their place. They haven't brought in too many yet. I expect them to do more business. I think they'll be okay, actually, because if you look at their likely starting 11, it's still a good side. I do notice Lewis Cook is injured again. He's a mainstay for them. He played a lot at right back last season. He's got a knee injury. I don't know how bad it is. I hope it's not too bad because he's already had 2 bad ones. The record high point tally last season of 56. But I think they'll be fine. I think their manager is so good. Anthony Areola, I'm struggling to remember his name there. He's that good, man. I just really think he's the real deal, and I expect him to be absolutely fine.
Johnny?
Yeah, I think the issue is last season is that they had a terrible lot with injuries. So,
Yes, they had that Perspex box. They put like the David Blaine box where all their injured players were, didn't they? And actually went on a good run when they had all those players out.
Yeah, but obviously I think they ran out of steam a little bit towards the end of last season. Like I say, they've lost a whole defence, but I think a certain amount of churn is built into the business model. New signings seem quite good. Trufair from
Ren,
right? He's a very attacking left wing back. He's their Kirker's replacement. They're bringing in, I think, Diakite from Liew. Yeah, sorry. Okay, thank you.
Barry's like your assistant, Johnny. You're excited. You could just follow him around. Finish his sentences
No, I
for
just
him.
have my notes at a better angle.
But he was basically Liew lost Lenny Yoro last season, and he kind of stepped up. He's a real leader. I think he is the Dean Howson replacement, I guess. I think if they have better luck with injuries, I think no European football is a blessing in disguise for them, to be honest. And they are multi-tooled, and they have enough goals from enough different sources. I think they'll be fine.
Jordan?
I think they'll have a worse season this year than they did last season, but still a good season for Bournemouth, if that makes sense. I agree with Barry. Their manager Areola is a really, really top manager. If they have another good season, I'd be surprised if they keep him for another year. At the point of recording, they've just sold Zabani
to PSG
for 55 million. You wouldn't do that unless you have thought about what you're going to do with that money. So I'm assuming they've got plans to bring in some players. And I don't know if it's patronising, but if a team like Bournemouth stay in the Premier League, is that a good season?
I think so.
Is that? They're not a big club. They're still newbies.
Don't be nervous. These are your hot takes, Jordan.
They're not a big club. So if they stay up, that for me I've still got them in the just stay in the Premier League kind of mindset. I don't know if that's piss off a lot of Bournemouth supporters, but
you've pissed off other fans before.
I have.
There aren't any.
It's been it's gone one more than me.
That will piss them off.
Where are you putting them?
I've got them 12th.
I've got them 14th. Johnny?
7th.
7th.
Wow, that's a big gap.
Holy moly. All right, that'll do for part 1. Part 2, we'll begin with Brentford. Welcome to part 2 of the Guardian Football Weekly. We've got a live show on the 11th of September at the Troxy in London. Johnny, you're coming?
Yeah, am I?
Yeah, on the panel.
Oh, great. I'll just check my diary.
Please check your diary. But hopefully, the fans, the Johnny Liew fan club can shift 1,000 tickets.
I don't know that many people.
Right.
It would. I think they would generally have to know me to come along.
Okay. And we have obviously lost all Australians in London by putting Johnny on the panel, but that's okay. Jonathan Wilson, Nicky Bandini as well. Cameos to be announced. Can you make it do a cameo?
Of course.
Great. Tickets can be purchased by heading to theguardian.com/Football Weekly Live. We're live streaming it as well. Tickets from the same link. Link will be in the pod description. You can find it over our Instagram, Blue Sky and TikTok. So Brentford then. They've bought in Antony Melambo, an attacking midfielder from Feyenoord, Michael Coyote, a right back from Fiorentina, Caoimhin Kelleher from Liverpool, and Jordan Henderson as well on a free. They have lost Brian Mbeumo, Christian Norgard, Mark Flecken. Johan Wissa might be off as well. Thomas Frank, of course, and some of his coaching staff. They start away at Forest, then they play Villa, Sunderland, Chelsea and Fulham in their opening 5 games. They came 10th last year. It feels, Barry, like a tricky season, this, for Keith Andrews and his wonderful hair.
they may struggle, but I have literally got no idea whether Keith Andrews is any good as a manager or not. Most people know him as a pundit from Sky Sports, and
Is he a Keith or a Keat?
Keith.
Right. Because some Keiths are Keats, right?
No, I don't think so.
Is it, you know?
Well, a lot of Irish Keiths are Keats.
This is the key stuff that people are going to this.
So I've no idea whether he'll be any good or not. I mean, Brentford, very good at scoring from set pieces, very good at defending set pieces. He was their set piece coach. So, he's clearly good at that aspect of the game. Otherwise, I've no idea. No one knows, apart from Brentford's players, one presumes they'll have a fair idea at this stage. In terms of who they brought in, Mikel Coyote was already there. He looked really good towards the back end of last season. Jordan Henderson, he'll probably...
He's good to have around the place, I've heard.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there was talk he might return to Sunderland. I'd have been happy enough with that before I became aware that Granit Xhaka was on the radar. But yeah, he'll probably be all right. I wouldn't be surprised if they really struggle and get relegated. I'm not relegating them.
Jordan?
The 3 Bs in the Premier League, there's an element of trust that I have with them, the Brighton, the Bournemouth and the Brentford. Mm-hmm. And yeah, as Barry started by saying, the narrative seems to be, they're gonna go down. They're in trouble. They've lost all these goals. It's a lot of goals. They've lost their manager, but I trust them. I trust that they
where are Burnley in your Bs? You don't trust them. That's the untrustworthy B. Yeah.
They're the rogue B. Forgot them. Yeah. But I trust that they have a plan, and they would have foreseen that they may lose some of these key individuals. So I don't think they'll have a great season, but I don't think they'll go down.
I don't trust them. Well, I think people lump in Brentford with Brighton and Bournemouth. I think largely through alliteration, as we've discovered.
That's what I did.
Because of, obviously because they're small teams, or smaller teams punching above their weight because of their recruitment model. And, fair enough. But on the pitch, there's one big distinction, I think, that marks Brentford out. Bournemouth, as we talked about, they have a lot of goals from different sources. Brighton, they have goals from all over the pitch. They have very multifaceted threats. Brentford's playing model, by contrast, has basically been, we will construct a team to get the ball to these guys, and these guys will score. And obviously it was Mbeumo and Wissa last season. Previously it was guys like Watkins, it was Ben Rama, it was Ivan Toney. And I think once you take those guys out, I really struggle to see where Brentford are going to score enough goals to stay up. There's been a lot of talk about the set pieces. Apparently, the set pieces have been looking pretty funky in pre-season. And the other issue I have with them is their injury record. I think they have quite a lot of players like Christopher Ayer, Kevin Schade, Pinnock, who have a history of getting injured, like Igor Thiago, who they may end up relying on for goals. He hasn't had an injury-free season in his whole career. So I'm getting Norwich 2013-14 vibes off them. Like the Travelator in Gladiators. We may have to explain this to our younger listeners if we have any. But
I think it's
back.
It's back.
Is it back?
Yeah.
It's in the Mark. So basically, it's this really, really fast downward escalator that you have to run up. And if you get over the top, you're fine. But a lot of teams get right to a lot of contestants get right to the top, and then they end up falling right back to the bottom. And I think Brighton and Bournemouth have just about made it over. And I think Brentford, they're not quite there.
It's no awooga for them.
No awooga.
Where are you putting them?
I have them 13th.
13th. I have them 16th. Jordan?
14th.
Johnny?
19th.
19th, relegated. Let's go to Brighton then. They brought in Charalampos Kostoulas, a forward from Olympiacos, Maxim de Kuiper, a fullback from Bruges, Tom Watson, obviously scored that winner for Sunderland in the playoff final, and Diego Coppola, a centre-back from Hellas Verona. João Pedro's gone, Adingra's gone, Estepinion's gone, Evan Ferguson's out on loan. Carlos Baleba might be off to Manchester United. They play Fulham, Everton, Man City, Bournemouth and Spurs in their first 5. They came 8th last year, but as we've established, Jordan, you trust them.
I trust them. Away TC, where I've placed them in my table. That's it, really. I mean, again, my prediction where they will finish is predicated again on them keeping Baleba. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he'd be better suited to stay for another season. I know United are lurking. I would stay another season, establish himself. I think if he does, he could prove to be the hottest prospect in the league come this time next summer. I think he's a brilliant player, and he's an example of their model working and me trusting what they do. The manager, he's like 12 or something. He's very, very young. Forgot his name. Forgive me. What's his name?
Hertzler.
Hertzler, that's the guy. It's an interesting year for him because the first year I think he might have just kind of got through on energy and vibes. The second season it's like, okay, now let's see what you're really can you do it again? And I think he will. I think they've got Mitoma, who I'm surprised nobody has tried to get. I rate him so highly. One of the smartest and effective, I think, Premier League wingers out there at the moment. They do have Mintar. They've got some really good players in there that I think are going to really kick on this year and surprise lots of teams.
Yeah, 32 Hertzler. Barry?
Yeah, I agree with Jordan. I think they had a good season last season despite an injury crisis, despite their inability to beat some of the worst teams in the league. I think of the three sides that went down last season, they didn't beat any of them at the Amex. I think they dropped an awful lot of cheap, sloppy points last season that if Hertzler can tighten things up, won't happen again. They've got some terrific players. Goals come from all over the team. I think in Diego Gomez, they've got a fantastic midfielder. There's quite a few that Tommy Watson's the only one of their signings that I know much about, and they tend to sign good players. Even their duds who get moved on tend to be pretty good. And I have high hopes for Brighton this season.
I have 9th hopes for Brighton. Johnny, what do you have?
I have them 12th.
12th, okay.
Did you read the Fabian Hutzler interview in GQ?
I didn't.
This was a few months ago, maybe a couple of months ago.
Uh-huh.
He wanted to be a model when he was a teenager.
Okay.
And listen, I want to quote this. It turns out, he says, that no company really wanted to hire me. I had to accept that my body and face are not perfect for being a model. But he had that kind of, he's very clearly a nutter. He's very clearly a strange young man.
He's not a bad looking guy. You could see him as a model.
Right, but nobody wanted him. Like who has that ambition without, it's mad.
Did you read the Sharon Stone interview in The Guardian yesterday?
I didn't.
It's sort of the polar opposite. If anything, she's too beautiful and she's too smart, and that's what's been holding her back.
Right.
Doesn't Sharon Stone have an IQ of like 150?
Yes.
Right. No. So.
Yeah,
Did she want to be Brighton manager?
No.
Right, okay.
No. Well, if she did, she didn't tell Simon Hattenston.
Right. Understand.
The point being that he believes that human potential is ultimately limitless. He genuinely believes in the idea of like the perfection of humanity. He talks about he wears a sleep mask. He talks about melatonin production.
Right.
And the trouble at Brighton is that you come up against the reality that there is a very clear limit to human potential, and that is the point where Chelsea sign up. So I worry slightly what happens at Brighton when that model kind of hits a rough period. I always feel like
Don't say that model. That's not fair on Fabian.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's probably very triggering.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I always feel like at Brighton they don't. They're more likely to get booed off after a drab home draw against another mid-table side than they are at, than say Bournemouth or even like Everton. I think if you
can't say they're more likely to get booed off than Everton. That just, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think if look, it's hard to explain because I still think they'll be fine. I think I think they're a great side, but there is an expectation now of mind-bending brilliance. That they may not be able to sustain. Like I think, they obviously have great players. I think, Minte could be £100 million player, but this time next year we don't like their ability to develop talent is insane. But I wonder what their why is. Like see, Tony Bloom just bought a stake in Hearts, right?
Yeah.
Like, at what point does he start to get a little bit? Does he think now that Brighton can basically run on autopilot? It's an interesting question.
I would say Tony Bloom has very high hopes for Brighton of them getting in the Champions League. And I think this season, the fact that they're not in Europe will stand to them incredibly. And I think they're going to finish 4th.
4th? Ooh. I have them 9th. You have them 12th, Jordan?
I thought mine was I got 6th.
6th, okay. This is very interesting.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they were only 8 points behind Chelsea last season. Chelsea finished 4th. And Brighton left a lot of points out there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And if they can, I think they could be up there.
Interesting. Burnley have bought in, 1,000 players. Someone called Liew Shauna from Lazio, Bazir Humphreys, not Barry Humphreys, sadly. Marcus Edwards, who was there already, Jaden Anthony.
Quite a few of them were there already.
Yeah. Kyle Walker, of course, is an interesting signing. Martin Dubravka comes in because James Trafford has gone. They begin at Spurs and they play Sunderland, Man United, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. They came second in the Championship last season. Rich says, everyone appears to have us down as 20th. Can you make us 19th for some variation, please? I have them 19th. They've signed a lot of players, Johnny, and they've lost James Trafford, which seems key to me.
Obviously, everyone talked about the defence last season, like incredible defensive record, 16 goals conceded in the Championship, but it was off an XG of 38. It wasn't even the best in the division, and I don't want to, it's basically the same. They're a similar level defence to the company promotion team from 2 seasons earlier, and I don't want to, posit that the difference between that is between James Trafford and Muric, who was their keeper 2 seasons earlier. But I noticed that Muric isn't being snapped up by Manchester City. So I don't think the Championship is as strong a league as it used to be. I think the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League is huge. I think a lot of their summer business smacks of panic. To me, it's a club that I think doesn't really know how it's going to approach the Premier League, because you can't just sit 11 men behind the ball. You will get picked apart with a Championship level side. So I think they're going down.
It's going to sting when they get a draw at Spurs on the opening day, isn't it? What about you, Baz?
I think they'll struggle as well. And I was trying to find a case, trying to come up with a way of making a case for them staying up, and I just can't. By all means, prove me wrong, Burnley, but even the fixture generators conspired against them because they got quite a brutal start to the season.
Sean Dyche will be back.
Do you reckon?
Sean Dyche will be back by January.
Okay. It's highly possible, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Trafford's a huge loss. I don't think there's the slightest hope they can be as defensively solid as they were last season. Goals were hard for them to come by last season. They've signed Armando Broja. With the best will in the world, I
think there's a good player in there somewhere.
Do you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've yet to see him.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Where are you putting them, Baz?
I have them bottom, 20th.
Jordan?
Just briefly, I tried to find a reason. I've been a bit generous, maybe. I've not got them going down, although I might reconsider that. All the talk last year was about, as Johnny was saying, defensively they're solid, they'll be good next year, that will serve them well next season in the Premier League. I agree. I think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is so big, I don't think you can do what they were doing in the Championship and think you can survive. I've got them 15th nervously, but I
like how you say you can't do that and survive and then having
surviving. That's what I'm thinking. I might change that.
You can't change it.
There's 2 or 3 teams I think might be worse, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why I've got them 15th.
No, fair enough. Chelsea then, appointing João Pedro, Liam Delat, Jamie Gittins, amongst others. They have sold a lot of players as well. Madueke, João Felix. They begin at home to Palace. They play West Ham, Fulham, Brentford and Man United in their opening games. They came 4th last year. Real Bagel says, I think Maresca ball might just work. Jordan?
The talk around Chelsea is really pissing me off because people are making the same mistake they made last year. I was on this podcast at December when they were, I think, 3 points off the top. No, Chelsea in the title race. Chelsea, and I said they're not in the title race. They're not contenders. And they, as I predicted, fell off. You don't win a title with a keeper like Sanchez in goal. You don't win a title or even compete for a title with defenders Levi Colwill and Tosin Adarabioyo in defence. You just don't do it. I accept their midfield is excellent and they've upgraded up front. But I'm just not having them as title contenders. And everybody's got them in like a 4-horse race. They're not for me. The manager is a good manager, but it's his second year in the Premier League. He's still learning. They've got European football again to a higher level. I'm just not having them in that kind of clutch of teams that can compete for the title. Just not having it.
Well, I would say to Jordan that they're unlikely to have Levi Colwill in the Hearts.
I know he's out, yeah.
Because he's done his ACL, I think. But I take your point. My concern for Chelsea is how their exertions over the summer will affect them. I think it will affect them at some stage, whether it's at the start of the season, towards the end of the season, because they haven't really had a proper pre-season. And I appreciate it sounds stupid because they haven't had a proper pre-season because they were away playing games. But how rested are they? How fit will they be? How will they drop off towards the end of the season? So I kind of expect them to be up there, but not particularly challenging for the title.
I mean, they have got a really exciting midfield and attack now, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean the level of the squad is pretty good. I mean, I don't know if it's better than any of the teams they're going to be challenging for the title. But is there a plan to improve them? Like who is really improving at Chelsea? Is there a coaching structure there that is going to get the best out of them, or is this basically a club that is? I don't think Chelsea would win the title. I can't remotely see them because they are not a football team. They are a player trading vehicle. They are a floating entertainment orb in the ether. And I think however good the players you assemble are, you're not going to get to the business end of a season and win those 10, 12 games in a row that you need to. Because
don't you think you can develop a soul? You know, like the players, even though the players who become part of the first team setup and aren't frozen out, etc., will just organically become like a football team, even if they are a hyper entertainment.
I think
orb.
They can do it on an illusory basis for maybe 2 or 3 months. I don't think they can do it for 38 games. I think there are too many disparate interests there, and I don't think they need to win the title. I don't think the Chelsea entertainment vehicle needs to win the title. I don't think they need it enough, and I actually don't think their signings this summer have been like. Everyone assumes they've brought in incredible talent. Have they brought it? Is there anyone there who's a potential Cole Palmer? Maybe Esteval.
I mean, Pedro is a brilliant player.
He's good.
He's an upgrade.
He's an upgrade on Jackson, but marginally, I think. Delap is a very good player, but is he a title winning? Is he a Premier League winning striker? Is João Pedro a Premier League winning striker? Is Sanchez a Premier League winning goalkeeper? I don't think so. Where is your Van Dijk?
Well,
where is your De
their
Bruyne?
fans will argue that they've just won the Club World Cup, so they are winners.
Well, they may well win the Club World Cup again.
Yeah, and I've got them just again previewing earlier on. I've got them winning the FA Cup, so I think they can win something this year. I just don't think they'll be title contenders this year.
I have them fourth. Barry?
Fifth.
Fourth.
Fifth.
Where are we going next? Oh, we're ending part 2, and part 3 will begin with Crystal Palace. Welcome to part 3 of the Guardian Football Weekly. I'll start with Crystal Palace. They've signed a left-back, Borna Sosa, from Ajax, who hit the bar with that penalty in the shootout in the Community Shield. Not that it mattered. Jeffrey Schluppers left. I noticed he was playing for Norwich at the weekend. They're basically...
Joel Ward has left.
Ward has left. They're waiting... They're just waiting for the window to end. I think they want to sell Mark Gay. They're hoping Eze doesn't go, but apparently Spurs are now interested. Of course they are. Arsenal as well. They begin at Villa, then they play Sunderland, West Ham, Liverpool and Everton. They came 12th last year. Since we last did a pod, they've lost that appeal, demoted to the Conference League from the Europa League, which feels like complete bullshit to me, but it has happened. Do you think that will have an impact on them, Johnny?
I think it'll give them extra motivation to want to get back into the Europa League, and I think that the Conference League is an incredible vehicle for them to do that. I think they'll go out there with a we'll show you UEFA, we'll show everyone, and I think they're a really good shout to win the Conference League. Like it'd be
quite good to see Steve Parish shaking Seferin's hand, like getting the Conference League, and then coming back next year and winning the Europa League. Like I think it must be so galling for those fans, but it could work out for them and sort of extend another bit of silverware.
Yeah, and they probably won't have to put out a full strength side for most of the group stages. There's not a huge amount of competition there. I mean, Fiorentina are there obviously because Fiorentina are there every year, but I think it's Mainz and Rayo Vallecano and like the Palace should be targeting that to win that trophy and get back in the Europa League. And I think, but it has had an impact, I think, on their summer because they've not been able to plan, they've not been able to budget properly. Glasner, I don't think is very happy with the lack of business that they've done. But they're like, if they can stay injury free, like relatively free of injuries, that their 1-11 is, I think, good enough to get them off to a decent start.
Yeah. They have a good side, don't they? And it does. I mean, it's really hard to talk about because we don't know what's going to happen with Eze, and Gay will probably go. I think they want to sell him because they want to make some money.
As far as I can tell, most Palace fans would not be happy to see Gay go, but they would accept it without complaint because of the money he would bring in. The problem with, I think Gay would possibly be better off staying there for the season running up to the World Cup, because he's been linked with Liverpool. Would he get in the Liverpool side ahead of Virgil and Konate? Don't know. He might, given Van Dijk's performance on Sunday, but I'm not going to read too much into that. They have a really good side. They have a very good manager. I'd be concerned about their lack of strength in depth. They do have a playoff to get through before they go into the Conference League group stages. It would be hideous if they mess that up, but it seems unlikely. I think they'll be fine.
I have them 11th, Jordan.
I have them 11th as well. Just to say, I think the Gay thing's interesting because I think him staying or leaving, I think, could determine whether they win the conference or not. I think he's that good a player for them. I think if he stays, I think they could be one of the favourites to win that. I think he's a really, really good defender. One of the best in the league, I would say. And I'm a big fan of Mateta as well. So they can keep Gay, Eze and Mateta coming in the window. I think they can have a Palace season in the league, but do something quite special in Europe.
I think if they're safe mid-table in February, March, and they're still in with a shout at the Conference League, I think they sack off the last couple of months. So that's why I've got them 15th. But I think they'll be solid mid-table.
10th.
11th for me. Let's go to Everton, who obviously have a new stadium. They brought in Tierno Barry, a striker from Villarreal, Carlos Alcaraz, who was there last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
A left back from Bayern, Adam Asno. Neil Maupay has left, but they have brought in, of course, Jack Grealish. They begin at Leeds, then they play Brighton, Wolves, Villa and Liverpool. A lot of enthusiasm, Barry. A new stadium. They finished the season brilliantly under David Moyes. They have a new hero in Jack Grealish. Is there reason for optimism?
I'm sending them down.
No, you're
Yeah,
not.
I am.
You're relegating Everton.
I am.
How are you relegating Everton?
Because I think they'll finish 19th.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me more.
Well,
This seems like the hottest of hot takes.
I'm getting warm off.
I feel so bad for them already, and it's hypothetical, and they won't get relegated. But
yeah.
oh man,
The bottom 7 in my predicted table, you can more or less have thrown the 7 names up in the air and, just pick them out of a hat. So I will say that. But I foresee a struggle for Everton. I am not convinced by David Moyes at all.
he did brilliantly last year.
He did okay.
Okay.
He did okay. It was a low bar, and the vibes. There was a lot of vibes. But I think when we get into sort of entrenched Moyes territory, I'm thinking back to,
Sunderland.
his last spell at Everton, his spell at Sunderland, his spell at Real Sociedad, the final season at West Ham. So much has been made of this move to Bramley Moor Dock. I just think they're going to have a nightmare of a season and possibly get relegated. I may well be totally wrong, and to be absolutely clear, it doesn't matter what I think.
No.
But and another reason is I really don't want to relegate Sunderland in my predictions. So
There we go.
Because I sort of think when you add Grealish, and if they free him up in the 10, Johnny, and Ilian Ndiaye is a brilliant player. Obviously, a lot depends on their new striker Barry, because that position has been a slightly poisoned challenge. Calvert-Lewin and Beto sort of did okay, but I am surprised to have heard them be 19th.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be okay. I mean, if you look at West Ham's home form, the season they moved to the London Stadium, it's they have a decent season, but it's their away form that does it for them. Their home form falls off a cliff. It's going to feel the stadium's going to feel really weird for a while, and they're going to try and force things because that's what you do with the new home. You try and fill it with memories. It gets in your head a little bit. and you don't play the kind of the consistent football that you want to play week in, week out, because you're just feeling so many feelings. Grealish is an interesting one because Everton have again, they've disobeyed the rule that it should be the iron law. They should put it on they should just stick it on the wall in huge letters. Don't buy players from clubs that are better than you. Just stop doing it. They have Moise Keane, Dele Alli, Fabian Delph. Stop doing it. James Garner, stop buying. They see you coming, right? I think
Iwobi.
Yeah, Iwobi. I think Everton's recruitment has been so bad for so long because they are still enamoured with the idea of themselves being a big club and being able to attract big players. Everton need to ask themselves why no other club in Europe was prepared to take on Jack Grealish at his age on his wages. Obviously the financial package is something to be considered, but why is no one else taking a shot? Why is it Everton? It's always Everton lining up going, yeah, we'll have him. We'll have this broken
James Rodriguez.
Who again, he was great for like 4 months, then he got injured and then cost them tens of millions of pounds.
Did they buy Morgan Schneidlin off United?
They did buy Morgan Schneidlin.
See, even you're getting it now.
Wow, I'm relegating them now.
Donny van der Beek. This is not what smart clubs do, but it is what fallen giants do. Tierno Barry looks like a decent signing. He'll probably need half a season maybe to adapt to the Premier League, and Beto will have to fill in. I think he'll have to step up pretty big time in his absence.
I think it'll be a disaster for them as well.
Wow.
And to the point that Johnny's making there, if you think of the one player in that team who the last couple of years been injured, but I think has been a success, is the guy they signed from Burnley on the left.
Dwight McNeil.
Dwight McNeil.
Yeah, he's good.
Do you know what I mean? Solid Premier League player, who they got from a team who they would consider below them. I think it's going to be a disaster for them. They haven't got particularly good players, in my opinion. Njai is a good player, but that's about it. Jack Grealish, I think, is a car crash. I would have stayed well clear of that. That would be fun for a few games. I think the fun will stop very, 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 very soon on that one.
They don't have a right back to speak of. Jake O'Brien isn't a right back. He's been playing at right back. Seamus Coleman is,
he's gone now.
As far as I know, the pre-season's been a mess, and David Moyes is already getting his excuses in. I've seen this before, and it happened at Sunderland when he was there.
I've got them 12th. For the giddy heights of 12th. And I thought I was being a bit harsh. Johnny?
Yeah, I'm not as down on Moyes as Barry is. I think they'll finish 13th, but I think they'll be in relegation trouble for quite a bit.
19th.
19th?
19th.
Holy moly. Now, this is from A.B. Chaplin's Boots. Says, Fulham have signed no one. I actually thought producer Joel had just forgotten to fill it out when he'd done the ins and outs. I was just like, hang on. Transfers in, nothing. Transfers out, nothing.
They've signed a reserve goalkeeper.
They go to Brighton, then play Man United, Chelsea, Leeds and Brentford. They came 11th last year. Are we in trouble, asks A.B. Chaplin's Boot? Are we fine? Do we not know what we're doing? Are we geniuses? What is there to say? I mean, I suppose the thing is...
And as far as I can remember, I had nothing to say last season. I was just like, 11th, yeah, good, next.
But they were more fun last year.
They were more fun, but they still finished resolutely mid-table, as everyone predicted.
But they were more interesting, and they had that sort of Expendables vibe. You mentioned Iwobi, they got him and Adama and Raul Jimenez and sort of managed to resurrect these careers. I'm just desperately trying to be nice to Fulham here.
I can see. They've got some good players. They've got a good keeper in Leno. They've got some exciting wingers. They've kept hold of the left back, Robinson. Raul Jimenez, I've always liked him. He had a poor period for understandable reasons after his horrific injury. I think they're a team that will just finish mid-table again. I think the Fulham fans that I know and speak to, as long as they can get some good football to watch and they can get the odds upset in terms of beating a big head every now and again, they're happy with that. That for them is a good season. Mid-table, maybe a little cup run, beat United or an Arsenal every now and again. Happy days.
That felt, you're worried about patronising someone earlier in the pod.
They told me.
That feels like
they told me.
So, yeah, I didn't, I was struggling to generate opinions on Fulham. So I asked my friend Andy McGrath, who's a Fulham fan. He's a brilliant cycling journalist and a Fulham fan. And he's worried. He's worried that, this is the oldest squad in the Premier League last season. They haven't refreshed it. I looked up Anthony Rock. I couldn't believe he's 28.
Is he?
But yeah, they have all of their decent players are either late 20s, early 30s. There hasn't been enough refreshment in that team. He reckons, my friend Andy, I'm borrowing his opinion, and he basically gave me his opinions in return for a plug for his forthcoming Tadej Pogacar book, which is coming out later this year, I think.
Great.
So he's a very good journalist. But and thank you for your opinions. But yeah, he told us to watch out for Joshua King, who's not the
Norwegian Josh
not
King.
the Norwegian Joshua King. He's a teenage midfielder who they rate very highly. But he reckons they'll get sucked into a relegation battle just because. And Marcus Silva's not that happy there, and they were really inconsistent last season, and it's an issue because Spurs and United aren't going to be as bad. I wouldn't have thought as they were last season.
I have them 13th.
Yeah. Their big problem last season is they couldn't hold on to a lead. They gave up 28 points from winning positions last season, which is diabolical, you'd have to say, but they were still fine.
Yeah.
I have them 12th.
16th.
I had them 9th, but
Ninth?
I might revise.
You can't
that,
revise it.
Sorry,
That's
no,
not how
okay,
this
locked
works.
in, locked in.
I look at how I've
It's been
relegated. I'm
recorded.
thinking it's a terrible idea, but there we go. Well, look, that's the first half of the alphabet. A few questions. Nicholas says, now Dyche has gone, even though you think he'll come back. Who is the hardest Premier League manager? There aren't any standout candidates. Pulis, Dyche, Allardyce would run amok in the modern game. It is difficult for which manager would do X when Sean Dyche isn't in the Premier League.
I think Glasner.
You think Glasner?
Glasner's pretty hard.
Tough elbows.
Yeah.
Moyes?
Moyes.
No.
He's 60.
Sure, he's old, but
He's
you know,
old,
like
but he won't give up.
Well, what are we talking here? Is it a manager most likely to
just his hardest. I don't know. I don't know if he's the most likely to
Hardest.
knock you out. I'm not sure what Nicholas hasn't given me the parameters of the question.
There's a lot
Moyes
of nice
isn't hard.
managers. in
Moyes
the
is not a hard man. Moyes is a nice man. Yeah, but people just think he's a hard man because his teams play uncompromising physical football and he is Scottish. But he's like Moyes is a pussycat.
Yeah, producer Joel says Scott Parker has a bit about him.
Scott Parker's had a bit about him since he was 60.
True. Hoi Polloi Boy Toy says, we know the 8-second rule will apply to David Raya, but how long will it be for other keepers? 15 seconds, 20, 30? I did like this bit of conspiracy theory from the Arsenal fans.
Well, we did forget to mention in our assessment of Arsenal how many points they'd lose because of the refereeing conspiracy against them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope we don't have to put up with that absolute balderdash.
Well, it is, you just don't have to look at social media. I think there are normal Arsenal fans out there, like every other club. I think so. Yeah. Johnny, because you're not here for the second half of the alphabet. So I'd like to hear your league tables in full. But have you got any others, strong thoughts on teams from the second half of the alphabet?
I'll jump in first. I've got, and this is going to surprise so many people and also get me chucked out of lots of WhatsApp groups, Spurs third.
You've got Spurs third.
Yeah, I've got them third. I've just got, and I accept this could go badly wrong.
Is this after they sign Eze and Savino, which they haven't done and won't do?
I didn't think about that. I rate Thomas Frank really highly. I think they'll make some more signings in this window that will be smart. And I think the monkey of not winning the trophy, of having that off their back, I think there's just a pressure that's just not there so much anymore from the fan base. I think the football will be better. I think that they'll concede less goals. It's a bold shout, I accept that, but I think they're going to have a really good season, and I hate saying that.
Give us your 1 to 7 and your bottom 3.
I've got Liverpool to win it, Arsenal, Spurs, City, Chelsea, Brighton, Newcastle, United, Manchester United.
And who are you relegating?
My bottom 3 are Sunderland bottom, sorry Barry, Everton going upwards, and Leeds.
Okay. Johnny, your second half of the alphabet thoughts and your top 7 and bottom 3.
I have Manchester City 6th. I think they'll have. I think the trajectory that we saw last season wasn't a blip. I think what we saw towards the second half of last season, that was the blip. I do worry about Guardiola and his ability to create a third new team. I think it's hard because the characters that you're dealing with, because you're building a team basically 10 years after your first team. The characters that you're dealing with are so different. You have to rebuild the mentality, the champion mentality as well. I think they've lost too much experience. And again, Rodri's injured for the start of the season. I don't know how long Rodri's going to be out.
September, I think this is.
Right. And I think there's a lot of promise again, but I don't see them. I didn't like their trajectory last season. I saw a lot of downed tools at certain points last season. I think that's a little bit of a warning sign. We have the charges coming at some point. At some
Do we? Do we?
But again, that helps to create the emotional temperature. It's Guardiola's last season, probably. Maybe that gives them a little bit of an extra push. Maybe the whole thing disintegrates. I suspect it might just disintegrate.
Okay, well, what's your top 7?
We have Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle 3rd, Chelsea 4th, Tottenham 5th, Manchester City 6th, Bournemouth 7th, and going down to Sunderland, Brentford and Burnley.
And hang on, Newcastle, where did you have them? 3rd?
3rd.
Because that will surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, they have a very good team, Newcastle, and they play very good. What I do, the way I do I always do my Premier League predictions on the day after the previous season finishes.
Okay.
Because I think you just get too swayed by who won the window, by transfer intrigue. I think, we've probably spent like 50-60% of the time talking about new signings, right? Who's coming in and who's left. When in fact, what determines how well a team does is how much the existing players have improved in that summer, how much time you've had to work with them, whether there's been an international tournament, So I think the fundamentals of Newcastle, for all the shenanigans that have gone on in the transfer market, the fundamentals of that team are really, really sound. And Eddie Howe is a great coach. I was a doubter, but Eddie Howe is a great coach. I think they'll be 3rd.
Lovely stuff. Oh, well, look, that'll do for part 1. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks.
I'll see you for the next one, Barry.
Okay.
Which we're recording in about 3 minutes' time. Producer Joel writes, this feels like desperation, but as it is the start of the season, these apparently are our biggest pods of the year. Did you know that? Here is an earnest call out for reviews on Apple and Spotify. Because normally Spotify is just, can we have time codes for when you're talking about Liverpool? So wherever you get your podcasts, as it is the start of the new season, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. We are doing lots of fun stuff on there throughout the season, apparently, Barry.
Oh, great.
On Blue Sky.
We're doing fun stuff on TikTok.
There's no fun stuff on Blue Sky. Literally, we've never done anything fun on Blue Sky.
You make a good. It's wholesome.
It's nice,
but it's boring. Yeah. That is true.
So leave a review. It's the least you can do for us.
Exactly. Well, you can come to the live show
and come to the live
show. Leave a review. If it's 5 stars, if it's not, if you're just like, don't be just an upset Everton fan specifically about this pod. Give us 1 star. Think of it holistically. That this is. Been great company to you for a long time. And you can watch these preview podcasts in colour, it says here. Well, it says Technicolor. In colour, guys. I'm serious. Colour TV.
Dolby surround sound.
If you've ever wondered what the panellists look like, but you probably know that. Anyway, thank you, chaps. Football Weekly is produced by Joel Grove. Our executive producer is Danielle Stevens. Back with part 2 tomorrow.